There we go. Now I am good. Now I can upload it later. Hey, all right. Well, welcome to the 6K and 10K Alliance meeting. We're going to record this. Those of you who were on previously, I forgot to hit record, but I'm excited about this time of year. I'm excited about this season. I'm excited about great things to come. Kicking off the meeting and really helping you have the biggest push of your life and the biggest hyper growth of your life personally, professionally, and financially. Americans are spending a lot of money on Cutco cutlery. I know I just showed this off, but I'll show it again for the recording. In the last 4 weeks, we've gone from 2.3 million to 3.5 million to 4.2 million to 4.9 million dollars, and it's impressive because I'll tell you, we've been the #1 region in the company now for the last 4 to 5 weeks in a row. We've been #1 for the last 3 years in a row when it comes to our region. And right now we are keeping that streak alive, continuing to lead by example and be at the top of the list. I also want to share with you that we've had some really exciting performances. John Giacchino in the Fayetteville office, #3 branch manager, $23,000 in sales. And as a division, over 71,000 bucks. So this is the season. This is the time to grow and to really commit. And this is the time where champions really are born. And it doesn't matter if this is your first summer or your veteran summer, push weeks is what it's all about. So in your notes, I want you to write down why go big for push. I want to talk a little bit about the whole mentality behind it, but I want you to think about this, right? If you're hearing this, if you're on this meeting, listening to the recording, you're committed to going after $6,000 to $10,000 in sales over the course of the next 14 days. That's something that for many of you, you would never think would be possible. And the reality is that you don't need to focus on the results. You need to focus on the actions and the effort that it's going to take, right? So what I want you to write down is 3 fundamental questions that you should be asking yourself. The first question is, what do I want? What do I want out of this job? What's important to me, right? Do I want income? Do I want experience? Do I want motivation and recognition? Do I want significance? I was talking to a bunch of the 10K fast start targets from the division earlier, and we were talking about becoming legendary. Doing a 10K fast start is being part of the top 1% of 1% of people that start with our company. It's extremely impressive, and it's a big deal to put on your resume. But I realized that if you didn't have a 10K fast start, selling $10,000 in a push is just as impressive. Sure, you might have a little bit more experience and confidence, but you know what? It's just as impressive. And being able to put down on a sheet of paper that you sold 6 to 10 grand in a 14-day period, man, it sets you up. The second question that you should write down, why. And you should make a list of whys. Why does this matter to you? Why is it going to matter? Right? And your whys bring you back when you have your tough days. The whys bring you back when you're down and out and frustrated, right? And the third thing is how. And I think a lot of the hows are going to get answered today from the meeting that we run. The hows are going to help you understand things a little bit better and really next level when it comes to this job. So those are the 3 things that I always like to start off with and begin with. And as you go through this meeting, I would off to the side in your notes, make a list, and you can just kind of title this list right now, Top 10 Reasons You Want to Hit 6 to 10K for Push. Top 10 reasons you want to hit 6 to 10K for push. And I want you to think about, the financial benefits, the personal benefits, the professional benefits, right? The resume benefits, all of the different things. And you're going to hear a lot of ideas and you're going to say, ooh, that's a really good idea for me. I want that. And you're going to really take it to the next level. So thank you for taking the time. I'm going to dive into a few things to review, but why are you here? Well, first off, you're elite. Whether you feel like you're elite or not, you're elite. You're at the top of the list, and you're somebody that really has a lot of potential. Hey, guys, welcome. The second is you think big. You're a big thinker. You're somebody who isn't going to be average, mediocre, or normal. Those words scare me. I love in John Giacchino's office in Fayetteville, he's got a poster that says, average is the new broke. And I think that it's so true. Another thing is that you're excited about this job. You're excited about the growth. You're excited about the potential and the opportunity that it allows you to have. You're somebody who has big sales goals. You want to make a lot of money, and your manager believes in you. And I love the quote, sometimes you have to believe in the belief that others have in you in order to start believing in yourself. So why do we have push weeks? Why do they matter? Well, first off, the benefits are incredible. I want you to write down income. If you're at 0 right now, which most of you on here are not, but if you're at 0 in career sales, you will not make less than $1,000 to $2,000 in this push. But if you're over $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, you're going to make a heck of a lot more money than that. And so I think about selling $6,000 or $10,000, you're making anywhere between $1,000 and $5,000 in the matter of 14 days. You think about how hard other people work in 14 days. Sure, they might not work every one of those days, but you know what? If they work 5 days a week, 40 hours a week, they don't make a lot of money. right? Even at that, at 10 bucks an hour, 12 bucks an hour after taxes, what are you making? 320, maybe 400 bucks, right? You add that up, that's not even $1,000 at an hourly job with people they hate, at a job they hate, with flexible, with hours that are not flexible, right? In an environment that they probably don't like either. You know, with a job like this, I love waking up every day asking myself cool questions like, who do I get to meet today, right? What new opportunity do I get to experience today? Right? What new environment or new household or new person do I get to conversate with or network with? And that's the thing. The job like this, it keeps you on your toes. There's constantly new things, constantly new challenges. And even after 13 years, I'm finding many of those, right? So I think about the income that you can make. Think about where you'd put the money. And I want you not just to write down how much you want to make, but I want you to write down what would you do with that cash? How much of that would go to savings? How much of that would go to debt? How much of that would go into things that you want to buy for yourself? What's that thing you've been wanting for a while, but you haven't been able to logically say yes to, right? Well, maybe you use that as your reward when you go after this push and you say, when I hit my goal, I'm going to buy an iWatch. Or when I hit my goal, I'm going to buy that new video game, right? Or whatever it may be. But you got to make a commitment. You got to put that on the list no matter what. So another thing that I want you to think about, right, is your skills. I want you to write down hyper growth for skills. The only way to get better at any skills is to do more of whatever that skill is. You want to get better at a sport, show up to practice more and put more hours in, right? You want to get better at school, study more, listen to more talks, right? Go to more class. You know, they say that if you want to be a master at anything in life, it takes 10,000 hours. 10,000 hours to master anything in your life. So I want you to consider that for yourself right now. And what would you need to do, right, in order to get to 10,000 hours worth of work in a job like this? And if you did, can you imagine how good you'd be at selling Cutco, right? That's the Curtis JQs, the Josh Mueller, these $5 million reps. They just kind of wave their hand and people buy a lot of product, right? It's pretty awesome. And Bryn's laughing because it's totally true, right? So I want you to think about this, right? Master skill sets. The volume of demos is going to get you better at everything. If you're doing tons of demos, you're naturally getting more confident. You're naturally getting better at making phone calls, right? Your expectations are bigger. And once you stretch your comfort zone, you never go back. For some of you right now, making 10 calls in a phone jam is difficult. Well, when you make a commitment to making 40 or 50 in a day, making 10 is going to be pathetic. Right? And so think about how it's really stretches your comfort zone. It's kind of like a slingshot. You pull it back, you let it go, and now you're 10 steps forward, right? I also want you to write down leadership. I want you to write down position of choice. Why do we have push periods? Well, we're looking for leaders. You know, we're the fastest growing division in the company right now, and all of the new people that eventually became FSMs, AMs, BMs, DMs, right? You guys are that next wave. You guys are the future of the 2020 development class that we've got. You guys are the people that are going to Olean. You guys are the people that are going to be the legendary stories we're telling for years to come. You guys are the ones that we're going to be printing your paychecks and putting them up on the walls, right? You're going to be able to come back as alumni and look around and say, oh, I still got that record, or, oh, I'm still over here. My name's on that check, right? And that's all going to come from these 2 weeks of hard work. I also think about the fact that SC1 is where champions are born and SC2 is where champions perform, right? And so if you want to be a champion, well, take advantage of an opportunity like this, even if you don't have all 14 days, to really make a name for yourself and really take advantage of the most amazing opportunity that you're being given from this kind of opportunity, right? I have reps that have been in less than 1,000 in sales end up selling 6 and 10K for push. I've had reps that were about to quit and then end up having a push period that changes their life and changes their trajectory, right? So I want you to think about what it could do. This could lead you into a position of running a branch, running a district, being a top events team rep, or even one of the next 100K shippers, right? You know, for some of you, you need to remember 60K in your first year, first year, and you get to go on an Alaskan cruise with our development team next year. And that gets really exciting really darn quickly, right? So I want you to think about what that is for you. You know, a couple of things you might want to write down on your list of reasons, but the first one is this going to be the push that you hit Dirty 30? Right? Because if you knock out Dirty 30, the rest of the summer you're making 30%. And if you knock out Dirty 30, you're going on the river float and barbecue out in Tahlequah, right, south of Tulsa, right, coming up in August. And that is going to be a blast, right? Another thing is 15K. Now you're eligible to do service calls, sharpen people's knives, upgrade them, and we teach you how to do that. 30K, you're now on the mentoring program, and you get mentored by $1 million Hall of Fame reps. What does that feel like, right? Pretty exciting. And of course, once you're over 50K, the real CSP opportunity begins. And that's where you can step into higher level events team, or you can step into CGC and a lot of those things as well. Another reason we have push periods you can jot down is competition. It's all about fun. It's all about motivation. It's all about beating other people. It's all about bragging rights, making your manager look good, but standing up in front. And what I love about this sales competition, it's not going to be local. Yes, on Monday we have the division meeting, but on the 26th, which is a Wednesday of June, we are going to have our actual conference down in Dallas, Texas. We're competing against 24 other offices, their division versus our division. And I'll share the promotion of that a little bit. But man, you think about the trophies. We're going to be giving away katana blades, right? Samurai swords. It's going to be wicked. And what's really cool about it too is you get free Cutco to go. The only thing better than Cutco is free Cutco, right? So that's a great opportunity for you as well. Next big thing that you can jot down, other than competition, fun, and motivation, right? Making a name for yourself. You know, I love the quote. I think Marissa introduced me to it. She said, hustle until you no longer have to introduce yourself, right? And that's how you know you've made it in the Cutco world. You can jot down, right? Starting the summer strong. We always say summer starts now, summer starts now, summer starts now. But the real summer doesn't begin until the kickoff of the event. The real summer doesn't begin until the conference, right? And when this thing kicks off, everybody goes big, right? Day one of push, you have a $1,000 day, your manager will buy you a free steak knife. It's a really cool way to build up momentum and go after a massive first day of the push, right? But I also think about making sure that you make the biggest paycheck of your life. You know, and in life, there's two pains that you can have. The pain of regret because you didn't work your butt off and you didn't take advantage of it. I think a lot of us have that for our fast start. And the opposite of that is the pain of satisfaction, exhaustion, but knowing that you're a champion, that you put your best in. Anybody who ever gives their best never regrets it. So something that I tell people all the time in push periods is growing your character by committing to something and not giving up, whether you're on track or off track, and following through with the actions is the most incredible thing that you can do for your future. Way more important than the result that you get. So I just want to again congratulate you guys on being invited to this meeting, congratulate you on investing your time. I know it's one of the only things that you can give and not get back on the in return, and just make sure that you're ready to really take advantage of the meeting that we've got prepped for you. I do want to tell you that the meeting is about growth. It's about expanding your capacity, and you got to understand your mind is like a muscle, right? It's designed to be exercised, right? So the only way it gets stronger is if you exercise it. It's just like going to the gym. The only way your muscles get bigger and stronger and more dense is by going to the gym, right? So the reality is that you need to go to the mental gym, and coming to meetings like this, stretching your thinking is really going to help out. Your push week is the opportunity to grow your mental muscle. And the push week is about going after something that you've never done before, going after something so big that you're not even sure that you can do it, and knowing that you can look back and say, even if I didn't hit it, it was the best investment of my time, best investment of my summer, and I know that I'm a better person because of it, right? You know, it's a great habit in life to make a decision, right, to commit to things, even if you're scared. And I think about being a parent. I've got 2 kids now. I want to set an amazing example for my kids. And while a lot of you don't have kids right now, eventually you might. And I want you to work your butt off as if you were setting an example for the kid that you want to raise. If your kid was watching you every day, what would be different in your work ethic, your dedication, your commitment to the next few weeks? So anybody can have a great sales day for one day, but it takes true character to commit to a goal for a total of 14 days straight. And for those of you that are fully a part of what we're doing, the experience and the rewards are going to be way over the amount of risk that you'll have to put in. So what is it doing? What is it going to do for you? Well, I think about a few things. The recognition, SC1, standing on stage, making a name for yourself in the office, right? The stepping stone that we talked about, the income, not having to ever worry about money again, having $1,000 in an emergency account, being able to pay all your bills, being able to buy your parents dinner instead of having them buy you dinner, right? Being able to give out rewards. It's things like that, the dreams that you don't think you'll ever be able to do, the prizes that you earn, the bragging rights, the limo, right? We're going to Fogo de Chao. We're going to have a freaking Superliner limo bus. It's going to be absolutely awesome. Not to mention, we also are going to have some pretty cool prizes to win, and then, of course, the wrap-up event. So whatever you want to do, this meeting is going to help you get it. And we're going to review the demo count. We're going to review how to get things done and how to really go after it as you move forward. So last few assignments that I have for you is, as we dive into the meeting right now, I want you to write a few things down. What is it going to take? If you want to go after 6K, if you want to go after 10K, here's what you should write down. Number 1, fully engage in this meeting. And if you're somebody watching the recording, you definitely need to eliminate distractions and be 100% mentally, physically, and emotionally present, right? Count yourself in, don't count yourself out. For most of you, This meeting should ignite a fire under you that will burn for the next 14 days. And this meeting is going to give you the plan, the tools, and the belief that you can make it happen, right? Second thing you can write down is commitment. It's always easier in life to find reasons or rationalizations why not to do things or why things can't be done or why you won't do it. And that's why the majority of the world doesn't live the life of their dreams and they don't have the success that they want. But it's much better, right, to focus on challenging yourself to get outside your comfort zone. My challenge to you would be to say to yourself, how cool will it be when I overcome all the obstacles, all the adversities, and all the naysayers and haters, right, just to hit my goal? And if you can keep that in your mind, you'll be surprised at where you can get. You think about 14 days in the long scheme of life, 3 years from now, you won't even remember it. It's a blip on the radar. It's not a lot of time. In the moment, it feels like a lot of time because you're working all day, every day. But in the long scheme of things, it's not. But you think about the experience, you think about the personal growth, you think about the rewards, you think about the income and the character that you'll develop, far more important than any amount of money that you could earn. So I see it year after year. The people who have gone big for things like this in Cutco, the experiences they tell me about, the thank you letters that they write, and the way that they grow is far beyond anybody else who just tries the job or just goes through the experience, if that makes any sense. Hey, Rachel, come on in. Last big thing that you can write down is work ethic, right? Work ethic. Big rewards in life are reserved for the people who deserve them and work for them, not just the people who mean well. Biggest 2 weeks of the year, we're going to sell more in the next 2 weeks than we have in the last month in general. And I can promise you that just because, right, a group of people come together, make a decision to commit and go big, it's amazing what things can happen, right? I might not be able to do it for 100 days straight, but I can definitely do anything for 14 days straight. And I can take advantage of what's possible. Last thing you can write down is momentum. Understand you've got to go into it with momentum. And we're going to give you some assignments based on that in a little bit. But when it comes to momentum, whatever it takes, guys, hit $1,000 this week. Get on the newsletter, find a way. Do 5 to 7 demos and get a big paycheck, because when you're over $1,000 going into the push, it gives you such a confidence boost, right, to really crush your push period. So understand that it's all about fresh leads right now. If there's one tip I could give you, and we'll talk about it later on, it's about building your leads list. And regardless if you're going after 6K, 10K, or more K, right, you got to make sure you have a lot of lists. You got to make sure you have a lot of leads. Your resources is the number one thing that will hold you back from your goals. So between now and when push begins, can you get to 100 if you're going after 6K? And can you get to 150 if you're going after 10? And if I were to sit here right now and I were to cut you a check for 2,000, a total of 100 to 150 names on your list by Monday, why would you not do it? Why would you not do it? You'd find a way, right? So champions find a way. The rest of the people, the average, the normal, the mediocre, the broke, you know what they find? They find excuses. They find reasons they couldn't get it done. But that's not you. You're a champion, and that's why we're here today. Cool? So you really want to get outside your comfort zone. You really want to get into your chicken list people. You really want to make sure you're hunting down those names and numbers now so that you can execute big in the push as we move forward. Cool? So we're going to jump into the actual meeting today and the content. I hope that that was a good just wake-up call for you, and I'm so fired up. The only thing that I wish is that there were more bodies, more people on here right now, but there's not, and that's one of the reasons that we're recording it. So we've got our first speaker up. This is going to be Britton Northcutt. Britton has eclipsed over 80,000. He's probably closer to 85,000 in sales now. I can't even keep up. Britton has already been with the job just under 3 years. His dad ran an office a while back, and back in the 2000s, and his dad was a champion district manager, and so wanted his son to be able to start the job too. Britton at this point, I believe, has had many push periods, but some, I think his biggest is 6,000 or 7,000 so far. He had a $10,000 start to the year in January, and since then has had a couple weeks and a couple months off. He's had a couple weeks of strength, but he just wrapped up one of his second biggest months, over $8,000. Finished strong for his own push to be eligible to work at the events and the state fair team. And he is definitely somebody who's got the mental and muscle and the tenacity to really take it to the next level. So I asked him to come in here and talk about the mentality of going after push. What kind of change do you need to have physically, mentally, and emotionally to really take on this big of a challenge? And for some of you, this is going to be the hardest thing you've ever done in your entire life. Britton's going to help you out and give you some really good material. So bring them on up. We won't give like a big round of applause, but we'll do 2 claps and a Ric Flair on 3. So here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Woo! All right, if you didn't know what a Ric Flair was, now you know. So since he's the main speaker, I'm going to throw it on to speaker view right now. And apparently that did not work. So go back to gallery view. Anyway, you'll be ready to rock.
Man,
So
just
want to look at yourself?
Yeah.
All right, good. Well, for the recording mainly. So excited to hear you talk. And here he is. Go ahead.
All right, how long do I have, Nick?
Probably 10, 15.
30 hours. Yes. Okay, we're going to be here for a long time. Hope everyone is doing absolutely phenomenal and fantastic today. I always love every opportunity that I have to be able to talk to the team, to the entire division, to the admin office here. It's super exciting, just the push opportunity that we have, right? This is, at this point, my third summer so far. So I've been doing this for a while, been through a couple of pushes, and I'm ready to go. I think I'm more excited about this push than any other push I've been in the past, okay? So the first thing I really want to talk to you about is actually emotional intelligence, right? Has anyone heard that term before?
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. So here's the deal. Push is going to be tough. Absolutely. It is going to be tough. There's no way around that. I love the quote, if it were easy, everyone would do it. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be everyone. Okay, I don't want to take the easy way, right? Sure, all of you have heard of Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will, right? And that's what push is about. Everything will go wrong. But that's the best part about push. That's what makes it so exciting, is pushing through the adversity, is growing, is becoming a better person, okay? During my last push in January, I had one of the worst things that could go wrong for this job. Totaled my car, right? But guess what? Still had a $6,500 push after being out of commission for a week because I, was texting and driving. Don't do that. It's never a good idea, not worth it. But it's about finishing strong. When it comes to emotional intelligence, one of the most important things is knowing where you are, okay? How many people have a journal, right? How many people write in their journal every single day? You're missing out. You should start every day with journaling. Every time something goes wrong, you should journal. Every time something goes right, you should journal. If you don't have a journal, you should go buy one tonight. It could be one of the best investments for your business. And the reason being is because it gives you an opportunity to reflect. It gives you the opportunity to realize that what's going on right now sucks. Because sometimes that's needed. Sometimes we need to realize that things are not going well, right? And that's just how it is. But a lot of the time we keep a lot of that inside and we don't actually have the opportunity don't actually have the opportunity to express that to ourselves, right? It's incredibly important. If you can know where you are mentally and emotionally throughout the entire push, you're going to find a lot more success. So the reason why I'm the most excited about this push right now, okay, the reason why I'm the most excited is because it gives me an opportunity to just work. Recently, I've been overcomplicating everything. I've been overthinking. I've been trying to make decisions. But for push, I don't have to worry about that. I just have to take action. And there's literally nothing better for your business than just taking action. Doesn't help you to think about it. What good does thinking about making calls do? Is that going to book you demos? Manager calls you like, hey, how many calls did you make tonight? Oh, I thought about making 10. Where's that going to get you? Push is an excuse to work, persist until something happens. Push is an excuse to become the best version of yourself. it's at the point where I'm having a decent year, but I always I just want to share with you guys really quick. I could be so much further. And that's why I'm excited about this. I'm excited about this opportunity because it's giving me the opportunity to go where I need to go, and it's going to give you the opportunity to go where you need to go. If you're around Vector for long enough, you'll hear that, Cutco is not necessarily the end goal for most people, but it's the vehicle, right? It's the vehicle for your goals, right? No one wakes up and they're like, I want to sell knives. But what they do wake up and think is, man, I want to live a great life. I want to have freedom. I want my family to never have to worry. And that's the opportunity that you get with Cutco. Is you get the opportunity for freedom. And in my opinion, I would take that opportunity over anything else. Because so many people live in just this state of being bound by their work, by, depression, by just all of these terrible things. But with Cutco and Vector, we have an opportunity to grow. We have an opportunity to live our dreams, and we have an opportunity to be free, and that's powerful. I'm going to tell you guys this right now, okay? Because you're going to need to hear this at some point. Whether that's now, whether it's at the end of the push, I don't know when it's going to be the most important for you to hear this. But it doesn't matter if you hit your goal. Cutco has never been about how much you sell. It's about the person you become along the way. Push and what we do with our job is about growing to be better versions of ourselves. Right? That's what's so amazing about this. That's why I'm so excited. It's for the growth. So when it comes to push mentality, there are several things that you have to keep in mind. A lot of it comes down to the way that you take care of yourself beforehand, right? Because our physical state affects our mental state, would we agree? Right? So what are some of the hows behind your push about how to mentally prepare yourself for what you're going after? By the way, if you haven't taken the time to write out your goals, you need to do that. And during push, you need to do it on a daily basis, not as I'm going to hit 10K, but I have hit 10K during the SC1 push. Speak it into existence. But the most important thing, and I cannot stress this enough, but the most important thing for your push mentality, if you want to go after a big goal, and actually this works for Cutco across the board, right? But for push in specific, is to value your energy.
Nugget.
Right?
Give him feedback. Small group.
Okay.
Value your energy, because if you're low energy, then it's not worth it anyway, right? But how do you value your energy? Because all of us, we know that we need to value our energy, right? That's straightforward. That's, we know that we need to sleep. We know that we need to take care of ourselves. But how and what is the best course of action? What are the most important things that you can do with that, right? So really what it comes down to, and a lot of times this seems counterintuitive, but if you want your energy at the highest level possible, you need to wake up early, right? Think about how crappy you feel when you get out of bed at 11 or 12. Whether you want to admit it or not, you feel like garbage, okay? You feel like, wow, I've wasted the day. And I've been there. Heck, at this point, I feel like that if I get out of bed at 9:30, right? But it's about getting up early. It's about eating right. By the way, the easiest way to eat right is to meal prep. By the way, you don't have to meal prep ridiculously healthy stuff. It doesn't just have to be chicken and rice every single day, right? You're not trying to get ready for a bodybuilding competition, but you do want energy building foods, okay? So you want to have everything laid out. You know, by the end of the night tonight, you should know exactly what you're going to eat for the entire push, right? And there's going to be one day during push that you're going to take a day off and you're going to have to cook again, okay? Because you don't want to just leave food in the fridge for 2 weeks. I know we have some college students, so I'm sure you guys have all done that, like 2 months, right? But it's so important for your health, for your energy. It's also about getting up, even if you don't want to go to the gym, it's about getting your blood flowing every single morning. It's about maybe knocking out 20, 50, 100 jumping jacks, some squats, some push-ups, whatever it takes, going for a jog. You have to get your blood moving, okay? Push is one of the most intense times of the entire year. And if you don't have high energy, you will fail. It's as straightforward as that. Another thing that's important for your push mentality is being prepared, right? You know, one of the things that you cannot afford to do during push is your housework. Because if you're out, right, you're up at the office at 8 a.m. every morning phoning, you hit your first demo at 10, noon, 2, 4, 6, 8, you get home at 9:30, 10 o'clock, you don't have time to worry about cleaning your room. You don't have time to worry about cleaning out your car. But also, you can't go without doing that. Because it goes back to energy. If you don't clean your room, if you don't clean your car, you're not going to have the highest levels of energy. Think about how much better your life feels after you've cleaned your car and after you've cleaned your room. Think about the last time you did that and how great it felt. Like, there's no better feeling than waking up in the morning and you just have this spotless, perfect, clean room. There's no better feeling when you're driving to your demo and your car is spotless, right? Not necessarily on the outside, there's going to be rain, I understand. Like, on the inside, it feels good. It goes back to your energy. You also need to prepare by talking to your family. How many people have had conversations with mom, dad, grandma, grandpa already that you're going to be crazy busy? Anyone? If you haven't had that conversation yet, you have to. Because they're not going to understand. They don't know what SC1 is. They're like, hey, mom, I've got SC1. What? She's going to look at you like you've got some kind of disease or something. Okay? You have to explain it to them that for this period, you're going all out. You're going cutco nutso, as Nick always likes to say.
Yeah, I do.
So talk to your family. Make your schedule. By the way, you guys need to write this down, okay? White space is the devil. Like, I love this. Like, Nick has his planner right here in front of me. And it's so cool because literally everything is marked off. All of his time of, like, you know, spending time with his kids, with, you know, all of his work stuff, everything. You need to have any family commitments that you might already have, right, that you can't get out of, okay? You need to have your demos in there, right? You need to have your demo times. You need to have the day off that you're going to take. Because it is my opinion that everyone needs at least one day off during push. And that's okay, but it has to be intentional. It has to be an intentional day off. Maybe not a whole day, but a half day, okay? So have your schedule ready. Another big one is accountability. You have an accountability partner yet? If you don't, you need to find one. And here's what I'm going to do right now, okay? I'm going to give you guys my number. If you have questions, if you need help, you can call me. If you suck at getting up in the morning, I'm up 5:30, 5:45 every single day. I'll give you a wake-up call, okay? So here's the number, 405-209-1822. And this isn't just for your accountability. This holds me accountable too, right? But it's incredibly important. You also have to find people with similar goals. You don't want to, if you're going after a 10K push, probably don't want your main accountability partner to be going after a 3K push. There's not going to be the same level of accountability. When it comes to your mental state, it's about meditating. How many people meditate? Right? Super powerful. Whether that's in silence, whether that's, just spending some time with some relaxing music, whether it's prayer, whatever it may be, you need that time to bring yourself down. You need that time in the morning and at night. I recommend doing it at least 2 times a day to recenter yourself. And I used to probably be in the same boat that some of you guys are in, that meditation, oh, that's kind of dumb. I don't need that. But it's incredibly powerful. Incredibly powerful. It's also about journaling, right? Obviously, we talked about that earlier, but journaling in the morning, at night, when things go right, when things go wrong, okay? And it's also about lead organization. How much easier is it when you have in a spreadsheet, when you have in one notebook, when you have on one piece of paper, every single person that you can call? Think about that. You don't have to flip through to kind of pick and choose. You just go in a line. You call. No answer? Call. Who's seen The Pursuit of Happiness? Right? Will Smith, instead of putting the phone all the way back down, right? This is when they still had landlines, I know. We're too hip for that, right? He would just press the button to hang up and start dialing. It would save him an extra 30 minutes a day. That extra 30 minutes he would use to go pick up his kid. Because he was intentional with saving time with just calling. Let me ask you this. If you have fear of something and you add time to it, what is that going to do?
Stretch it out.
It's going to just get more fear, right?
Yeah.
More fear. So if you're scared of something, just do it. Fear is the best indication that that should be your next action step. If I were you, I'd write that down. Fear is the best indicator of your next action step. Here's what I'll go ahead and leave you guys with. This is going to be the most difficult, the most trying, but also the most wonderful and rewarding 2 weeks of your life if you do it right. Push is not about a goal. It's not about necessarily making money. I mean, these are bonuses. It's not about winning a trophy. Push is about being a better version of yourself. Push is about growing personally, financially, and professionally. Push is about learning who you are and learning who you can be. Push is about going above and beyond what you ever thought possible. Remember earlier I told you it doesn't matter if you hit your goal. Because the truth of the matter, no one is going to look back on this in even a year, 5 years, 10 years, even in a couple of months and say, oh, he didn't hit his goal. But here's what they will say. Say, Daniel, that guy knows how to work. That guy knows how to never give up. That guy knows that he has to do whatever it takes. They won't know why, but they'll know that that's a trait that each one of you here possesses. That's what push is about. It's not about your sales goal. It's not about making money. It's about you. It's about becoming a better version of yourself. Hope you guys got something from this. Thank you very much. Crush your push.
Good. Well, hopefully we got some nuggets. Any nuggets out of that?
Yeah.
I hope so. It looks like we've had a couple other people join.
Yeah.
Really refreshing as well. And all we've got is an iPhone right now with a suitcase. I'm just kidding, but that's good. It's cool. Well, I love the part about just making sure that you value your energy over your time and really learning what you're truly capable of from an event like this. So bust out your planner. If you don't have your schedule right now, go and get a schedule. What we're going to do right now is a mini workshop. We're going to spend about the next 10, 15, 20 minutes literally doing exactly what Britton talked about and planning out every hour of every day, making sure that it's all down on paper. We know what we're working towards. We know what we're going after. Now, for some of you, this is going to be easy because you're like, dude, I don't have a life. I just have all the time in the world. For some of you, this is going to be a bit harder because right now you've got other events, you've got other jobs, you've got maybe summer school. I think about, Dalen right now. You got summer school probably multiple days, right? So you got to be working around that. But whatever your schedule is, the beautiful thing about this job is it's your schedule. You can take full ownership of it and you can really crush it when it comes down to those things. So what I want you to do right now, even if you're a Google Calendar type of person, even if you're like all about the electronic version, I want you to find a way to get a paper version. And the reason why is because I think on a paper version, it gives you a bird's eye view. You can step out and you can look at everything and you can really figure it out, right? And I know that Britton will probably go and get a couple of weekly schedules that he can bring to you and you can put down on paper. But the other reason that I like having this bird's eye view and having paper is because it allows you to make a template that you can then upload into Google. And that might sound like it's very repetitive, but here's the benefit. When you have that, if your phone ever dies, you've got a backup plan, right? Also, because phones die, right? And how crappy would that be if you're in the middle of the day, you forgot your charger, everything's going to you-know-what, and you're like, now I don't even know where I'm driving to my demos, right? And, sometimes I've even seen reps have like the leads in there. They don't even get an address. They just have a phone number, and then they can't access the phone number. I mean, I've seen the problems like that occur, and you definitely don't want that to happen to you. So I want to talk a little bit about planning. And, I love Jim Rohn. If you've never heard of that personal growth speaker, Jim Rohn talks about all the time how every day deserves 5 minutes. He says every week deserves an hour. He says every month deserves a morning, and every year deserves a weekend. And what he's referring to there is planning. And I want you to ask yourself, right, how much better would your life be? How much more productive would your life be? How much more would you get accomplished in your life if you were committed to following that formula of planning? If every morning you woke up for 5 minutes and you reviewed last week's progress or last day's progress and you verified that today's plan was in alignment with who you wanted to be, right? How many times do we all have days where little things slip through the cracks or the day doesn't go as planned and we didn't get something done? And then we say, I'll do that when? Tomorrow. And then you never look at your planner, something else hits you, and then all of a sudden tomorrow becomes 3 days out, and pretty soon you're paying late fees on bills. Pretty soon you're getting grades docked because you didn't have your homework assignment in, right? Pretty soon your friends are pissed at you because they expected one thing and it didn't happen another. Pretty soon you're wishing your friends happy birthday 4 days late, or you're not even sending a card at all. I mean, all the little things in your life that you want to get accomplished aren't happening because why? Because you suck at planning. And so the first step is to plan to plan. You have to put in your schedule when you're going to plan. And if every day you're in push, took 5 minutes to review yesterday's results and plan out next week's, right, or next day's efforts, you would be so much more productive. If every week you took an hour, just an hour, to look over the last week and say, all right, what were my wins? What were my challenges? What were my lessons learned, right? And how am I going to implement that for next week? And if every month you were to take a morning, I don't mean like a 5-hour morning. I mean to take 2 hours, shut off your phone, go to a park, right? Sip on some coffee, right? And be able to enjoy yourself and just think. Just think. I mean, nowadays with technology, life moves so freaking fast, right? Life moves so fast, and we have access to the entire freaking world with the tap of a glass screen. So I want you to think about how much better your summer will be, how much better your life will be if you just slow down a little bit, if you just think, if you just plan. So our objective right now is to literally eliminate white space. We want to take your schedule and we want to write everything in. Cool? So let's start with today. And I'm going to go day by day. I'm going to go hour by hour. We're going to think about what you need to be doing. Cool? And the objective by the end of this is for you to be able to present to me how many total demos you could do for push. I don't know is not an option, and it's definitely not an answer. Does that make sense? So go with me here, and I'll promise you that this is going to help you. If you're the person sitting here right now, though, and you're like, I don't know about this, I don't know about this, well, here's my first tip to you. Use pencil. Use pencil. If you are using pen, immediately stop. Use pencil. You can erase it. You can take it out later. If you need a pencil, I've got some. But let's take advantage of making sure that you are doing this, because otherwise this is a waste of your time, right? Just listening to me talk about what's possible, but not actually put it down as your plan. So again, take out your planner. And if you don't have a planner, can I borrow yours real quick? If you don't have a planner that looks like this, get one, right? These are the planners that we give you. They're 3 to 4 hours, they're 3 to 4 months worth of info. There's one in the interview room or the training room if you want to grab one. But they look just like this, and they've got every hour of every day broken down. At the bottom, what I love about them, check this out. You can track your numbers. You can track your goals. So this is super powerful and productive. And then over on the side, you also have a quote as well as a space for notes that you can look over too. Cool? So let's make sure we get one of these out. If you don't have one, then find a way to get some sort of schedule, some sort of planner, and let's go through day by day. Let's look at what this would look like as we move forward. Cool? All right, so let's begin. Tonight, you've got a team meeting, right, in your office right after training with us, and that's going to be from 6 to 9 p.m. Rumor has it that there's water pong competitions going on, and I think you're going to have a lot of fun with that. I also want to remind you that team meetings are so valuable because this is where you get new workshops, this is where you get more content, this is where you learn more about what's possible, and you really commit to going after big goals. Cool. Next thing you can jot down, right, is tomorrow. Tomorrow would be one of those days that I would definitely go big with demos, and I would use any extra time that you don't have used up right now, and I would just write down mission 100. If you're going after a 6K push, we'll talk about this later on, but it's going to take you about 30 demos in 14 days. That comes out to about 2 to 3 a day, depending on how many of those 14 days you can work. Now, with 2 to 3 demos a day, that means you're probably going to need to book a few more than that, right? And you're definitely going to need to have more than enough leads. So it's really misleading. I've had a lot of people say, well, I only need 30 demos, Nick, so I don't need more than 30 customers. False. It's very easy for people to be busy, for people to be out of town, for people to not answer. So my rule is that you always need 2 to 2.5 times as many leads as demos you want. So if Rachel's sitting here right now and she says, you know what, I want to knock out a total of 30 demos, then I'm going to look at Rachel and say, perfect, then you want to have 60 to 100 names on your list to guarantee that lack of resources is never your problem. Does that make sense? And again, the reason that people, right, aren't available is not because they're saying no. It's not because they're like denying a demo. It's because they legitimately don't have time in their schedule or they're out of town and it just doesn't work out when you're available. Cool? All right, next thing that you can jot down, right, is if you want to go after 10K, you're going to need 150 leads, right? Because that's going to take 40 demos, and 40 demos, right, 2 to 3 times as much, you're probably going to want 150 leads. So tomorrow is all about find a way to do a couple demos, get on the newsletter, and tomorrow is all about building your leads list. And I'll promise you that phoning is so much easier when you have a big list of names and numbers that you can just dial through, right? The reason that phoning isn't that much fun for some of you is because you're not very productive. When you're making phone calls, you make a phone call, you set it down, you pick it back up, you send a text back, you flip a couple pages, you think about who you're going to call next, and then you look at a name and you say, nah, and then you flip again, and that's the reason you don't get much done. You need to be like Will Smith on The Pursuit of Happiness, right? If you haven't watched that movie, and that's where he never sets down the phone. He's got to get out 30 minutes early to pick up his son every day, but he has to make more calls than everybody else. And those are cold calls. So instead of setting it down, he just hangs up with his finger. It saves him a few seconds per phone call. And because of that, by the end of one day, he saves 30 minutes. right? So imagine that being you. What if you duct taped your phone to your hand and you weren't allowed to let it go, right? You weren't allowed to let the screen lock, you know? I wish there was an app that made your phone an actual phone and only an actual phone. So help you God, right? For the rest of the phone time, if that makes any sense. Because if you did that, you would be so much more productive. So get the list made. That way you're not distracted. And that way when you jump into these half-day call days, you can make a bunch of calls without any distractions and you can be super productive. Make sense? All right. That being said, when it comes to phone calls, a really good quote and a really good reminder is every 1 hour of calls equals 1 demo completed. Now, of course, you're probably going to make more than 1 demo booked in an hour, but if you want to complete 30 demos to go after 6K for your push, well, you need to plan in over the course of 14 days a total of 30 hours of phone time. If you want to go after 40 demos for push, which would be an equal to 10,000 in sales, then you need to put in your schedule a total of 40 hours for phone time, right? And I tell people all the time, if you're going after 3K, which none of you should be, you need to commit to at least 2 half-day call days. If you're going after 6K, 3 half-day call days, and if you're going after 10K, 4 half-day call days. And again, whether or not you hit your goal is irrelevant, like Britton talked about. But the fact that you have a plan and you're putting in the effort to go after your goal is what it's all about. So take your planner right now and let's go to Friday, right? Friday is the first day of half-day call day work, and that's where you really start to book up your push. Now, again, before any of this, the most important priority you put down in your notes right now is hit the newsletter. This week, it cannot be replacement CPO. See, I've seen so many people do this, right? They come into this week of momentum week, and instead of bringing momentum week in, what they do is they dip. You don't want to dip because if you go down and you're at 0 or 1 order for this week, not only is your paycheck suck, but here's the problem. All the extra sales that you get during the push just replace the sales you didn't have, which means you're really not having a better summer. You're just moving when you made the sales. Does that make sense? But if you sell $1,000 this week, then you know you've hit the newsletter. You still had an okay week. And I think most of you on here know this. But again, 1K a week, it equals okay. If you're a part-time rep, 1K a week is okay. The only reason you didn't do $1,000 is because you didn't do 7 demos. That's it. If you put Cutco in front of 7 MAC clients, you will sell $1,000, guaranteed. As long as you follow your manual word for word, cut 5 types of food and have fun, but you got to do that, right? Okay. Then in addition to that, what you want to make sure you write down, right, is that when you look at this, right, it's all about making sure that you have those 7 demos completed. 2K equals good, 3K equals great, 5K equals baller status, and that's what we're looking for these upcoming weeks. But you got to stretch your comfort zone and stretch your mindset, right? And realize that you might have never sold a set before, and your first day of push after what you learn on Monday, you're going to sell your first homemaker. You're going to sell your first signature. You're going to sell your first ultimate, right? That's a really good quote to write down in your notes and just think about often. Today, I'll get my first blank. Or today, I'll get my next blank. And if you just focus on booking more demos than you complete every day, you win. If you just focus on making more phone calls than you did the day before, you win. If you just focus on making sure that tomorrow is booked up with a bunch of demos and you're excited about hitting your next 1,000 in sales, you win. But so many times I think that reps overestimate, right, what they can get done in a day, and they underestimate what they can get done in a 14-day period. If you really went all out as a champion for 14 days straight, what could you accomplish? And that's what we're trying to plan out right now. So on Friday, you can make calls whenever you want. There's no bad time to make calls. But the best times to make calls are from 8 to 9 in the morning and from 6 to 8 at night. That's not feeling, by the way. That's fact. Our company has paid other companies to research when our target market, married homeowners over 30, answer their phone the most. And it's 8 to 9 in the morning and 6 to 8 at night. So there's better times to make calls, but there's no bad times. I'll also tell you this. If I know that my likelihood of getting people to answer, which is the hardest part of phoning, is just getting people to answer, right? If I know that my likelihood is increased from those 2 times, then I'm going to do my best to keep those 2 times available for me to actually make calls. Doesn't mean that it'll always work, but I'm going to protect my time, in other words. Does that make sense? You know, it's kind of like this. I think about a video game, right? One that my son got me into is Pokemon Go. And for those of you who joke around and laugh at me and think I'm a nerd, that's cool. I'm a big dad nerd, and I love connecting with my son. He got a cell phone recently, took a screenshot, and he's like, Dad, I got a shiny legendary. And I'm proud that I know what the heck a shiny legendary is when it comes to that game. But here's my point, right? There's something called a lucky egg, and you can turn it on. And when you do, you get double experience points, right, for 30 minutes. Well, I think about phoning. When you phone during one of those 2 times that I mentioned, it's like getting double the amount of people to answer the phone. Is everybody with me on that? Yeah. So if you could get twice as many people to make phone or to answer the phone at different times, guess what? You win, right? Because that's twice as productive as it would normally be. So on Friday, please go to Friday, June 7th in your calendar. Let's look this over together. And I want to make sure you guys are all on board with this, right? So first thing you need to write down is from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m., at least in the pilot office, we are having a half-day call day. So put that in your schedule. You don't have to be there, but remember, every hour of calls equals 1 demo booked. So half-day call day on Friday from 2 to 6. Now, your office might be having it from 4 to 8, but again, there's a 4-hour block. And the way I do half-day call days is this. I make 50 minutes of calls or 20 calls, whatever happens first, and then I take 10 minutes as a mental break. Shoot some texts out, eat some M&Ms, drink a little bit of water, right? Get myself in the phone zone again. I'm ready. And then I go and I talk to the phone for another 20 calls. Now, you might think I'm insane for that, but it keeps me engaged mentally, physically, and emotionally. And when I'm sitting there, I'm like, all right, Julie, you're going to answer the phone. I can't wait to sell you a homemaker. Let's go, Julie. And it's ringing and she's not answering. I'm antsy. I'm sitting there. Julie doesn't answer. I'm like, come on, Julie, right? And then I double tap. And I double tap. I call everybody twice. And then I wait. And if she doesn't answer again, I don't leave a voicemail. I just move on to the next number. Boom, call once. Boom, call again. And I'm fired up. And this time it's not Julie, right? This time it's going to be Samantha. Samantha, you're going to answer. I can't wait to sell you knives. Samantha is going to be fired up. And I talk to the phone. I get pumped. And I give myself rewards, right? Put M&Ms out there and grab an M&M and eat one for every phone call you make. Eat 2 for every demo you book. Whatever you can do to keep yourself mentally, physically, and emotionally engaged with the process of you working your butt off, right? And if you're tired, that's good. It's an indication that you're putting in your best effort. Does that make sense? So put in a half-day call day on Friday. And again, if you want to go after 6K, you've got to find a way to get a minimum of 10 demos booked before push starts. And I would recommend coming to 3 of the phone times. If not, 4 of the phone times, right? If you're going after 10K and have 15 plus demos booked. How would that feel on Monday, showing up to the event, knowing that you have 15 people already planning to see Cutco? That's worth putting in the effort, putting in the time, right? We used to do all-day call days. Literally, we'd get at the office at 9 a.m., we'd phone till 9 p.m. at night, 12 hours straight, and then nobody worked hard because we were all too tired, right? So now we split it up in these half-day ones, and it works better. Cool? All right, on Saturday morning, don't forget, most of your offices have a D3D meeting that morning, but right after D3D, we dive into the half-day call day. So you can write down on Saturday, June 8th, 10 to 2. That's when we're recommending that you do your half-day call day. Right? The later you get in Saturday, typically more people are busy. Saturday evening's not a good time to make phone calls. It never has been. Friday evenings are pretty good. Saturday evenings are rough, right? So that would be a night that you could get a lot of your errands or your projects done, get a lot of your schedule cleared, right? You could even rebuild your names list that night or go out and have one of the last nights of fun with your friends before you're going off to knife camp and not going to have a life, right? All right, cool. Let's go to Sunday. Sunday, right? Our half-day call day is going to be from 4 to 8 in the pilot. So you can jot that down so you know when it's coming, know when you're going after it. And I see like Dan's schedule. It's like, dude, I'm going off to church camp. Hey, that's cool, man. Enjoy it. But here's the deal. You should still take advantage of these half-day call days. See if you can break away from church camp a little bit. So that way, the moment you come back to demos. You come back to momentum. You come back to progress, right? And you come back to a schedule you're fired up about. You know, if you're going to have any trip during this push, you want to make sure that the moment you get back, you don't have a hangover. In other words, you don't come back from your trip and have a day or two that you have to sacrifice to make phone calls to build your momentum up. You want to come back, and just like an hourly job, boom, you're back in the office, you're back in work, and you're back in the grind mode. Cool? All right. So now you know our half-day call days. Now, can you make your calls on your own time? Absolutely, 100%. You can have control of that schedule, but these are the times that we're going to be doing calls in the offices, and this is also where you want to be because you're in a much more productive atmosphere, and people are a lot more likely to, actually commit to the actions. Cool. All right, let's go to Monday. Monday, June 10th. Please cross off from 11 until 5. Monday, June 10th, 11 until 5. You guys have the division meeting. And if you have not seen the agenda for this, I'm going to share it right now for those of you watching the recording. It is absolutely fire. And I have not been this excited about an agenda in a very long time. The agenda is going to have many, many top-level talks. And I will tell you that this is going to kick off the biggest competition of your summer. When I look at this, this is the division agenda right here. We'll share one with you later if you are in person right now, but I just want to share with you what's possible, right? I kick it off. We've got John teaching you how to sell more sets. Right? If you want to learn how to close sets on every demo, you definitely need to be there, right? Then we have Rob Steiner talking about the FSM and CSP lifestyle and telling you some tips about how he's gotten over $2 million in personal sales, right? Isn't that insane? $2.2 million, whereas a Rolex Hall of Fame earner, and he won a $5,000 travel voucher for free to any location in the world when he hit it. Pretty cool. We've got Melissa Bender, one of the greatest from South Tulsa, talking about getting more names on your list. There was a time when Melissa said I only had 5 names on my list, and then she built it back to well over 100, and now she runs a district office, right? Pretty exciting. Then we've got a 45-minute break for phone time. During that break, I'm going to have snacks. I'm going to have goodies. Every demo you book, you get more goodies and food, so that's going to be a blast. Then we have Claire talking about selling signatures, selling ultimates, selling flatware, selling cookware, selling accessories. She's at $52,000 in career sales. I'm pretty sure she knows what she's doing. Tyler's going to talk about the SC1 event. As a reminder and a shameless plug, if you sign up for SC1 tonight, you automatically get a hearty slicer when you go to SC1 in Dallas. But you can also break it down into 4 charges of $9 a week. It's only $36 to go, $9 a week, guys. That's it. $9 this week, and for the next 3 weeks, you go to SC1 on the 26th down in Dallas. And that's where we compete for all of our trophies and our swords, and you get free Cutco. The knife you get, the Hardy Slicer, it's worth $144. You pay $36 to go. Basically, we're paying you $108 to go to this event if you sell it for cash. You'd be foolish not to go. And of course, we're going to carpool, and it's going to be a great road trip. And we're going to, lick some gummy bears and throw them out. I'm just kidding. But I don't know if you've ever been on a road trip. It's a lot of fun. All right, last couple things on here. We've got Bailey talking about how to go after push. We've got Carissa talking about the phone is your friend. We've got Britton Northcutt talking about unleashing your potential. And then I've got myself with the wrap up. So I just want to share that with you guys because this is an event that you definitely don't want to miss. I also got to share with you that you guys spend thousands, countless dollars, countless hours, countless amounts of energy on going to school to get an education with no promise that you're going to get a degree, with no promise that you're going to get even a job in that degree field. And a lot of times you don't even like it. Well, guess what? We're asking you to come to Cutco School for 1 day. 1 day. It's free. You don't even have to pay for it. Right? And when you think about that, it's fun. A lot better than school. So why would you not want to go? Lots of food, lots of fun, lots of phoning, lots of friends, make it happen, put it in the schedule. All right. That being said, last half-day call day is on Monday night. Please make sure that's in your schedule, 5 to 9 p.m. The moment you leave that event, if you want to start doing demos, you can. Those demos do count for your push, but I would recommend making more phone calls to prep for your push. All right. Let's talk about Tuesday. If you want to go after this, I recommend being in an environment that is the most productive. So Tuesday the 11th, I want you to write down 8 a.m. at the office. I know in the pilot office, every morning at 8 a.m., we're going to have a workshop. It's going to be 5 to 10 minutes. We're going to be sharing wins and sharing challenges and lows. And we're going to be going after, victory. And I know in the pilot office, we're promoting that we're going after a $250,000 push. It's going to be nuts, but we're going to make it happen. And we're going to beat ourselves for last year when it comes to our push goals. I got to share with you that I would recommend talking to your manager and showing up at 8 a.m. every morning as well. What I also encourage you to do is right after that 8 a.m. Alliance meeting, jump on the what? On the phone, right? So 8 a.m. at the office, 8:15 we're done with our workshop, and 8:15 you're on the phone. You're dialing. And what I would recommend is scheduling your demos ahead of time, preset them now. So go ahead and take your planner and use a highlighter or use a circle and go ahead and highlight 10 a.m. That would be my first targeted demo spot. And what I would do is I would highlight 10 a.m., I'd highlight 12, I'd highlight 2, I'd highlight 4, I'd highlight 6, and I'd highlight 8. Now, are you actually going to do all 6 demos every day? Maybe. And if you did, can you imagine how day 1 of push would go for you? many of you would have an opportunity. If you did 6 demos in a day, even if 1 or 2 of those rescheduled, you'd still knock out 4. And if 1 or 2 of those are good set sales, you would be able to hit $1,000 on day 1. I know in the pilot office, we're having a free steak knife for anybody that does. So keep that in the schedule. It's pretty exciting. Okay. Then you go to Wednesday, right? Back in the office, 8 a.m. And if you can't make it in at 8 a.m., the only reason I would not show up at 8 is if you have 10 plus demos ahead. Otherwise, you definitely want to get back in the office for some forced accountability and get yourself back on the phone. So again, 8 a.m. phone time, and then we should be doing a 10, a 12, a 2, a 4, a 6, right? Or sorry, a 4. And then at 6, you have your team meeting. Please understand that no demo is more important than a team meeting, especially during push. The content and the quality of talks that we deliver are priceless. Do not try to do a demo during an event. And here's why. There's something called Cutco Karma. It always goes wrong. It doesn't go well. You have a reschedule. You have a cancellation. You have a no-show. I have 99% of my stories just like that, and probably 1% one time that a rep actually sold. But more often than not, right, the Cutco gods are looking over you saying, guess what? You should have been at your meeting, and you decided to do something different. Make sense? So keep that in your schedule, and that's big. So you could do 6 on the 11th, right? That would be huge, okay? Then if you think about it, 10, 12, 2, and 4, you could do 4 on the 12th and go to your team meeting. Also, this allows you an extra hour and a half to make calls to book up the second half of your push, if that makes any sense. Okay, let's look at Thursday, June 13th, right? Back in the office at 8 a.m. And now what we're doing is we're doing 10, 12, 2, 4, 6, 8, right? So you got another 6. I'm not saying you'd have to do that. Maybe your schedule doesn't allow it, but you definitely want to make sure that any of the demo spots you do have, you put them in there, right? And I get that some of you are like, oh my gosh, my demos take a lot longer than 2 hours. Well, yeah, but when have you ever had a day where you actually completed all 6 demos? So you might be behind a little bit for the day. You might be ahead a little bit for the day. But you don't want to not book demos 2 hours apart just because you think that one might go over. Does that make sense? Max out your time, max out your schedule. And as long as you're running 15 to 30 minutes on schedule, you're doing just fine. Okay, let's look at Friday the 14th, right? Let's talk about this. Back in your office at 8 a.m. And we're doing a demo at 10, 12, 2, 4, 6, and 8. Another potential for 6. You might not have the potential for 6, but at least you know that's available. So look at Saturday the 15th, right? Back in your office at 8. The only exception to being at the office at 8 a.m. would be a Sunday morning, right? That would be it. Every other morning, I'd be in my office at 8 a.m. And we're going to have conference calls. We're going to have talks. We're going to have workshops. It's going to be great. And then 10, 12, 2, 4, 6, 8, right? We're back in the mode of 6. And what I would do is on Sunday, that's Father's Day. So make sure you make a note of that. Sunday, June 16th is Father's Day, right? But you know what most dads want? They want a little bit of privacy. So dad is not like mom. He doesn't want to hang out the whole time. Let him have his day, right? Give him a hug. Tell him you love him. And I don't know, maybe buy him a beer. And other than that, life is good, right? So here's the thing. You can maybe do a brunch or whatever, but you can still do a lot of demos that day. And there's a lot of people that aren't fathers, right, that'll still be willing to show you, to see you. Plus, this means that over the course of the next 2 weeks, you should definitely be bringing up Father's Day in all of your demos and asking every housewife, hey, have you bought anything for dad yet, right? Well, I'll tell you what, if you buy your set, I'll give you a gift for dad for free, right? So keep that in mind. Now, on Sunday, I want you all to put down another half-day call day. I don't think you need to do 3 or 4 because if you're making 5 before and 5 after, you're doing okay. If you go to church on Sunday, that's fine. But if you don't go to church, you can do a 10, 12, 2, right? And then you're in your half-day call day for sure. So I'm going to put down another 3 demos for that day. All right, we're halfway through push now, right? And we got to remember that not every day is going to be great. Second week is always bigger than first week. And even if first week was a flop, second week is a massive pop. And I'll tell you so many stories of the second week being way better than the first. Let's go to Monday, June 17th. This is Miracle Monday. Every week, miracles happen on Monday for whatever reason. I know that's true for Britain. I know it's been true for reps in the past. And this is when we are really taking advantage and really dominating this. So let's look at Monday, June 17th. What we've got is 8 a.m. back in the office for another workshop. And then we're doing a, right, 10, 12, 2, 4, 6, 8, right? We've got another 6 going on then. Then we go to Tuesday, June 18th, right? Back in the office, workshop at 8, 10, 12, 2, 4, 6, 8. We got another 6. Then we go to Wednesday, right? And we have the team meeting that night. So that's a day where we're only doing 4, right? Because you're doing 10, 12, 2, 4. back in your office. Don't forget, we have another workshop and then the team meeting that night. And you definitely want to be at the team meeting that night. This team meeting is where we talk about finishing Push Strong. We talk about success stories. We talk to you about calling back past customers, getting extra orders, not giving up on your goals, and really finishing like a champion. Let's look at Thursday. Back in the office at 8 a.m. Now we're doing it 10, 12, 2, 4, 6, 8, right? We're right back into that. We go to Friday. Back in the office at 8, 10, 12, 2, 4, 6, 8, right? And you got to ask yourself, how many of these days are you going to be winning? Are you circling these times? Are you highlighting these times? Are you writing down your other activities? And for some of you, it's not 10, 12, 2, 4, 6, 8. I'm looking at Dalen right now, and he's like, nope, dude, 8 to 2 every day. I'm in summer school. Well, fantastic. If you get breaks in summer school, 5 calls during the break and 5 calls during the next break, right? And then you get out at 2 o'clock, and then you're into a 3, 5, 7, and possibly a 9. You think about virtual demos for people on the West Coast, right? 2-hour time difference, and you can still make the most of your time and max it out. But again, I'm showing you what a maxed out schedule would look like. Saturday, June 22nd, is the last weekend of Push. You've got to be ready to crank it up. You've got to be ready to go big. What are our biggest days of the sales week? Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's because the most people are available for demos, and they're the most available to help you with your goals. Cool? So make sure that's in there. But again, it's 8 a.m. in the office, 10, right? 12, 2, 4, 6, 8. You got another 6 potential there. Then we go to Sunday, June 23rd. Big day for you, right? And because the conference isn't until Wednesday, I would put in another half-day call day for yourself. This would be optional, but again, 4 to 8 p.m., half-day call day, and Sunday evenings are by far the best time to get a hold of people. There's no Father's Day that day, and you can max it out. So you could still do church if you need to, but if you don't do church, you could still work backwards and do an 8, a 10, a 12, and a 2. So that's potential of 4 and a half-day call day, right? We wrap up Monday, June 24th, right? 8 a.m. back in your office again, and we're doing a 10, 12, 2, 4, 6, and 8, right? You got another 6 that day. Tuesday, you got another 6 that day. No team meeting on Wednesday. We don't need to have a team meeting because that's the official day of the conference. That's when we're driving to Dallas. You need to write down in your notes, though, that the conference and SC1 happens from 12 until 6. And here's what's cool. If you hit 10,000 in your fast start or you hit 10,000 for the push, you're on the Superliner limo bus. You're hanging out on the town. We're going to Fogo de Chao, and you're going to have a blast. It's going to be awesome, right? Okay. In addition to that, we need to understand this, right? That we are going after a massive, right, post-conference pop. And so for those of you who don't hit your goal, there are prizes for the next 5 days right after the conference that you can win. Free Cutco. Things like pocket knives, things like gourmet sets, things like the rest of your homemaker pieces if you didn't win it in your fast start. So don't just finish at the finish line, right? Run through the finish line and keep booking up demos. Everybody good on that? Now, it's about a 4-hour drive from almost all offices down to Dallas, which means we need to leave 5 hours ahead of time. So I know in the pilot office, we will be leaving at 7 a.m. to Dallas because I don't want to show up late. I don't want to hit traffic. We're leaving early, right? 7:30 would be the latest, and we're getting out the door, and we are on our way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So keep that in mind as we move forward, no doubt. All right, that being said, push is officially over, and you are getting the biggest paycheck of your entire freaking life, right? You are in a position where you have doubled, tripled, quadrupled your career sales, and you're in a great place of growth and confidence. So let's work backwards, right? Anything you have on Rolo before 12 o'clock on Wednesday counts for push. So again, you're going to be in the car, but what I would do is Wednesday morning, put in your notes to call back all past customers, thank them for their order, ask them for another sale. Don't forget about the 11th hour list, right? And I've had so many reps that are just shy of their goal, and those calls matter. They get an extra set, an extra piece, an extra order, and it makes the difference, right? So that being said, I look at this, right? Let's work backwards. We've got 6 plus 6 is 12. Then we've got another 4. That would be 16. Then we've got 6 more. We're looking at 22, then 28. Then we move on to 34, 38, 44, 50. Then we keep going with another 4. We're looking at 54, 60, 66, 72, 76, and with another 6. That would be a total, if you did all the demos, of 82 demo spots. Now, I get that your life probably isn't that open. But my point is this, that if you had nothing else going on, even with making the team meetings, the conferences, the half-day call days, you have 82 potential demo spots. And that's assuming your first demo isn't until 10. If you take those 14 days and you actually did an 8 a.m. demo instead of being on the phone, you would add another 14 to that 82 total, which is almost 100 demo spots. Now, the likelihood of you completing all of those is pretty low. But let me just do the math on it real quick, because I'm pretty sure that this will blow your mind. If you did 82 demo spots and you closed, I'm going to say 75% of those, because I think some of you right now, probably closer to 70, some of you could get 80. Some of you are going to say, nope, not me, I get 90. But we always want to err on the side of caution, right? So 75% closing, you're doing a lot more demos. Check it out. That would be 61 and a half orders. 61 and a half orders. Don't ask me what a half order is, but 61 and a half orders. If you had 61 order forms, right? Brendan's like, I know what a half order is. All right, so times a $300 average order, $18,300 that you would sell for push. Even if you were brand new right now, you'd make over $4,000 in 14 days. If you weren't brand new and you were making 30% of that, or most of that, close to 30, you'd make $5,490 in 14 days. So you can listen to me going through 10, 12, 2, 4, 6, and 8, and you can hear me giving you all these things to write in your planner and say, well, that'd be nice, Nick, but here's the deal. You can either have your results or you can have your excuses, but you certainly can't have both. And so I hope that routine, I hope that going through that calendar helped you out. The last thing that I want to talk about, well, actually, I'll do that later, but I just want you to think about this. Even if you only did half of those demos, even if you only did 40 of those demos, you would finish based on those averages at $9,150. And let's be honest, if you were that close to your goals, you'd find a way to get that last 900 and be on the limo, wouldn't you? So right now, as I bring up Claire, I want you to look at your schedule. I want you to make sure that every day is fully filled out, fully circled, fully highlighted, and I want you at the bottom of your planner, right? As a reminder, I'm going to share this real quick with you guys, but at the bottom of your planner, you guys, if you're using the right planner, you guys have a spot for how many calls did you make, how many demos did you book, how many did you complete, how many referrals did you get. Every day, I would be spending 5 minutes of my time making sure that that is updated so I gain awareness of how my push is going and focus on the actions, not the results. Regardless of what your demo goal is, please make sure that you know your demo goal and then create a tracking board. And Britton's a master of this. Buy a piece of tag board, put it in your room on your door, somewhere you're seeing all the time, and make a grid. And the grid just has boxes with hash marks, right? So you've got a square box with a hash mark like this. On the top part, you're writing in the date and time of the demo. And on the bottom part, you're writing in the CPO and referrals on the demo. And whatever your demo goal is, commit to your demo goal. If you want to go after 6K, 30 demos. If you want to go after 10K, 40 demos. I don't think any of you are too busy if there's 81 or 82 potential spots to knock out at least 30 or 40 of those, right? And here's the reality. You're going to have more demos booked than what you complete. But if every day you go in there and at the end of the day you go to your tracking board and you go ahead and put a hash mark when you've completed one, date and time you got it done, CPO and referrals, you're going to have a countdown. And let's say your countdown board is 30. Well, don't make it 1, 2, 3, 4 all the way through 30. Start with 30 and count down towards your number. 30, 29, 28, right? And then you look at it and you're like, 24 more demos to make the biggest paycheck of my life, right? 20 more demos, 10 more demos. Man, I have 3 days off. There are 3 days left. Can I do it? Can I work hard? And now you're giving yourself motivation because you're moving and leaning into the goal versus counting up to try to hit the goal. Does that make sense? So countdowns are way better than count ups. They always make a difference. I hope that helps. Again, a little bit longer than 10 or 15, but man, when I think about going through that, I think about the money that you can make. I think about the amount of product that you can push. I think about the amount of kitchens that you can change and the lives or your life that will be changed, no doubt, by going after it and working that hard. It's going to be fun and it's going to be hard. So I brought Claire onto the agenda because Claire is one of the best at enrolling people into her goals, sharing her goals with clients. I remember last year, maybe I'm taking some of her thunder, but she did a demo for a lady. The lady wasn't going to buy anything. She got over there, shared her goals about why she was working here, how it was helping her at school and her dream job. Lady bought a signature set, hooked her up with like 10 to 20 leads. And then after that, those 10 to 20 leads led to thousands of dollars in extra CPO. And that's how, as an AM, she sold over 15 to 16 grand last summer and made a fat amount of money. Now she's back as a pilot manager, and man, it's making all the difference. So Claire Beckman, $52,000 in sales, here to teach you why and how to share your goals. It's on recording, so take advantage. Let's bring her up. Yay! Yeah!
What's up, guys?
Right.
How's everyone doing? I'm excited
Pretty
to
good.
be all at division meeting on Monday. You guys excited for that?
Pumped.
Yeah. It's gonna be awesome. We're all gonna look so sharp, dressed up. I can already see. Is that you, Seth, wearing the tie and the jacket?
Yeah, and this is his name isn't on the screen, but this is Thaddeus. Hey.
Awesome. What's up? Nice to meet you guys. Kinsey, how's it going?
Hold up. It's going good.
Awesome. So when it comes to, sharing your goals, I think that the better way to say it is tying customers into you. How are you tying your customers into you? Like, are you tying them into your goals? Yeah, but like, are you really tying them into you as a person? And I think yourself, when you really have these goals, when you write them down on paper, how important are they to you? Are your goals worth, sacrificing to do something else, like go hang out with friends? And so that's what I think before you even get into like the main part about sharing goals, it comes down to what are the non-negotiables this summer? What are the things that are going to put you on the path to whether it's graduating debt-free or being able to buy a new car, stuff like that. For me, my non-negotiables is, making the amount of money that I need to make to be able to not take out loans for school, graduating debt-free. Like, that's my non-negotiable. Like, if that means I have to work every single day of this summer from 8 to 9 p.m., 7 days a week, then I'm going to do that so I can obtain that goal. And so that's when you are coming up with your why and the reasons that you're working here this summer, is coming up with a list of things that you will do anything to reach that. What's the goal that's going to let you go to bed at night thinking about it, and then it's going to get your head off the pillow in the morning? What are those goals? So
good.
And I think it's okay to say that to your customers too. I love saying that. So here's where it starts to tying customers into you. Is it starts on the phone. You have to be good on the phone in order to be able to share your goals in your demo. Are you telling your customers your goals over the phone? Nick just did a really good job. I'm glad that he talked about that before, because it sets it up perfectly. When you're on the phone, this is the best time to start doing this when we go into all of our half-day call days and start booking up demos for push, is Mrs. Jones, my goal is to complete 85 demos or appointments by, June 26th. Telling her that in order to compete for this scholarship and for this competition, I have to do blank, blank, and blank. What are the things that you have to do to hit your goal? Sharing those with her over the phone. Also, making them excited to meet you. Who's that person in your office that you just hate when they are beating you?
Claire.
Who is that person? That's
His
Britton.
mom.
I hate when Britton is beating me. It drives me crazy. And I talk so much trash about Britton on the phone with my customers. Mrs. Jones, there is this kid Britton in my office. I know you probably don't care, but can I just tell you about this annoying kid really quick?
Ouch. Let's go.
He is beating me. He has 5 more demos booked than me. I cannot let him beat me. Can you find the kindness in your heart just to, make some time in your slot or in your schedule for me? Just come over for an hour. They love that. Like, it sounds like it might be pushy, but it's actually really funny. Like, all the customers laugh every time I've done that. I get great response, and I don't get reschedules or anything because they know they're going to be messing up my competition if they do try to reschedule or cancel on me. So it's fun. I like doing that. So have the importance in your time when you're phoning and stuff. Put a lot of importance on talking about those things on the phone. So number 2 is rapport in your demo. how good are you at rapport? And you can say, oh yeah, I mean, I spend 10 minutes every single time at the beginning of the demo to build rapport. Like, I think that I like to really build a relationship with my customer. I don't like to talk about shallow things. Like, I like it for it to, be like a conversation where we're both actually into it, And if you're not fully into the conversation, Mrs. Jones isn't either. Like, if you're just talking about, what are you doing for vacations this summer? That's a lame question. Ask like something like, what's the coolest place that you've ever been to? Or where's the coolest place you've ever been to? Tell me about that. What did you guys do? Like, why did you go there? Like, actually ask questions, dig in. Really helps with sharing your goals. And the reason for this and why you're building rapport before you start talking about your goals is though they already really like you, they trust you, you've built that, you've established a connection. And then that opens up a big door for you to be able to be really intense about sharing your goals. Imagine if you went to buy a car and the sales guy just sits down and he's like, you know what? I have a big goal to sell, $200,000 this summer, and didn't build any rapport with you or anything like that. It'd be kind of weird. It would be, okay, this guy only is looking at me to buy right now. So that's why you have to build a lot of rapport before you start sharing your goals. Because once you're, when you sit down with a friend of yours or when you, even a sibling, I think about my siblings when they've had goals and with sports or stuff like that. Dude, we're friends and I care about them. When they share their goals with me, I'm amped for them. I want to help them. I want to support them. That's the reason. That's all of the logic behind that. According to a study conducted by the New York Marketing Club, 70% of the reason someone buys is because they trust and like you. No one's going to care about you until they know how much you care. So get to know them first before you talk about yourself. No one likes a me monster if you watch Brian Regan.
Yes.
All right. Number 3, setting the mood. So talking to Mrs. Jones about, the way when I share my goals, right as I kind of am sharing them, I say a couple different lines. I say, Mrs. Jones, just so you know, I'm here to help you, not me. I know how, sales can have a pushy culture or whatever, kind of joke about that. My goal is to change that stereotype and actually help people. That's why I love Cutco.
So good.
Like I said on the phone, you don't have to buy anything today. But do you mind if I share some of my goals with you? Boom, yes. Got the first yes out of the way for the demo. Just kind of releases that tension because I think, especially when you're doing referral demos, you want them to feel super comfortable with you. That's the main thing I have for that point. Number 4 is actually sharing your goals. Now we kind of worked our way up there. So one thing I didn't show you guys earlier is if you haven't done this, this is probably the thing I'm always most annoying about in every talk, but you have to have an about me page. Non-negotiable, make yourself an about me page. Maybe I can send a picture of this to your guys' managers and they can show you something or show you the JPEG file of this. But in the front of your blue book, it's really good to have an about me page because at the bottom, hang on, you can see this. At the bottom, I put goals, personal, professional, and growth goals on there. And that gives me the perfect time. So after I kind of tell them a little bit about myself, then I say, do you mind if I share some of my goals with you? And then I go through personally, I have a huge goal to buy a new camera, travel the world, graduate debt free, and kind of go through everything. But a lot of what I've found is a lot of people that I meet with are really impressed by this, that you have goals set for, 3 different areas of your life, personally, professionally, and growth goals. The next thing is having a goal thermometer. If you're in your fast start, keep that thermometer, but if you're not, make a new one. And I actually think it would be a good idea to make a new one for SC1 especially, but having a thermometer and then on there, like what are your whys, right? What are your goals? And putting like stuff all around that thermometer that you're working towards. So if you're working towards buying a new car, having like a picture of the car you want to buy, stuff like that right next to the thermometer. And then the last one that I have for number 5 is recommendations. So what's your recommendation goal for the campaign? Have you guys ever thought of that? Like establishing how many recommendations do I need to get this summer to hit my goals? So if you're running out of names on your initial list, wow, you should really start thinking about, how many recommendations. Like last summer it was 300 for me. So I made I got a brand new notebook and I made that like my SC1 recommendation book. And I had an SC2 recommendation book. What's your goal? And then talking to your customers about that too. And in the end, it's great. Mrs. Jones, my goal is to get 300 recommendations this summer. And then what are those recommendations bringing? Like remind her of your goals. So one thing that I said last summer that really helped with recommendations and sharing my goals on that was just, Mrs. Jones, my goal is to get 5 to 10 recommendations on every appointment that I do, no matter what. Just saying that, like, that's my goal. She like already bought a bunch of Cutco from you because she really is tied into your goals. Like, share your goals about your recommendations too. Your business is fed off of recommendations. There's nothing more important. I would rather have a no sale versus not getting any recommendations. I don't care if I would miss out on an ultimate sale. I would rather have recommendations.
Okay.
100% of the time. So that is like even though it's key number 5, it's like one of the most important things to talk about in your appointment. Talk to your manager, ask them, how many recommendations would I need to hit my goal this summer? Like, how many names do I need on my list? I'll tell you 150 minimum at all times, but how many should you get this summer? So just to kind of go over everything. Number 1, sharing your goals starts on the phone. Number 2, building rapport, really focusing on your customer, establishing a connection. Setting the mood with her, really helping her feel good about supporting you and going through the appointment. Number 4 is sharing those goals, having an About Me page, creating a new thermometer. And the last one is recommendations, sharing your goals and your recommendations. That's all I have for you guys. I'm super excited about SC1. I'm pumped to meet all of you. It's going to be a kick-ass summer. Thanks.
Woo! All right, good work. Thank you very much. People on go wrap up your AT2. We got a lot of people out there. It's going to be a really exciting meeting tonight. All right, guys. We want to wrap up the meeting. I'm going to give John about 10 minutes or so, maybe a little bit longer, to talk about his experience in SC1. And I got to remind you that, this job is not about who you are. This job is about who you can be. And for a very long time, I've learned to see people as who they can be, not as who they are, right? And I want you to write down a quote before I bring up John. Where you are does not represent who you are. Where you are does not represent who you are. And so often, right, I learned that from Bruce Goodman, the CEO of the company. So often I think that we judge ourselves based on the lack of results or lack of progress, or we feel like we're behind. By the way, I've never felt like I'm ahead at this job, and I've learned to thrive in it. It's a positive sense of dissatisfaction. We've had 10K days. We've had 20K days. We've had 80K weeks. I mean, things have happened where things are going really well, but I'm always in a position of being positively dissatisfied. And I think that that's something that's allowed John to be such a champion. He looks at it and says, hey, great stuff, but let's talk about what's left, right? And John, his first summer, almost didn't even come into training. I'm not going to take too much of his time, but he called me. We saved him. He went through training, and he sold 3,500 in his fast start, won some good prizes. He was working around an internship, and I just looked at him and I said, dude, you haven't even done your best. I said, I want to know what your best actually looks like. And that's when he ripped it up and popped a 5K week one a push, 10K week two a push. He beat every single person in the state, and he sold over $15,000 in 14 days. That was around an internship and a busy schedule. So I'm going to bring him up. John, we're fired up. I'm going to go ahead and put you on the pin video so everybody can watch you. I don't know what I just did. Pin video. Now I meant to make you the spotlight video. There we go. That is better. So now you're on spotlight, and the floor is yours. You got about 10 minutes or so. Here we go.
Okay, so I just want to say thanks. Thank you, Nick, for asking me to speak on this. SC1 for me, it changed everything. Just a simple way to put it. Like Nick said, I was like, yeah, I don't know. I actually called Nick like the day before training, or he called. I don't remember, but I was like, dude, cut the crap. What's going on with this job? Like people are saying terrible things. Like I don't want to believe it, but it's just like, what's going on? He's like, dude, just trust me. Come in to day one. If you don't like it, you can leave. And I said, that's fair enough. I walked into training. I was going out of town that weekend to see my girlfriend, and I sold like 1,300 my first weekend. On the Fisherman Solution, awesome. 3,500 my fast start, great. But the next week after that, I think I sold $2,000. And then the following week was push. So Nick brought me in for, we call it push PC. It's just kind of preparing, for what push is, having a PC on our plan for how we're going to push. And he told me, so John, do you want to go for 3K, 6K, or 10K? And in my mind, I was thinking, I know I can hit 3K, but 6K is a lot. Like, I don't know. So I was thinking more like, is there like an in-between? Like, is there like a $4,000? And so, just like, it was like one of those deals. You just say it to make somebody happy. Like, I'm going to go for 6K. In my mind, I was like, there's no way. Not a chance I sell $6,000. I went into it. I went to SLDM that first week of push. I learned how to sell ultimate signatures, cookware, flatware. I popped, 2 signature sets and that week, and I had a 5K week. I walked into the team meeting the following week, and everyone looked at me, and I was like, hey guys, and they're like, John, like, oh man, John, oh, you guys, you crushed it, man. And I was like, oh man, they heard. It was actually really cool. But 5K was like, that was like, I thought that was like, man, best week of my life. Like I'm never going to be able to do this again. And then the following week, I sold $10,000, and it was literally just showing the right people. I showed a lot of them. There was one day I sold over $3,000, and it was crazy. Like, it was just a lot of fun. And, that just takes me back to what Nick said. It's not about who you are, but it's about who you can be. And Nick saw that in me. He knew that I knew a lot of great people. He knew that, I was, motivated by myself. He knew that as long as he gave me the tools to be successful, that I could take those and I could be successful. And, I appreciate that every day. If Nick wouldn't have called me, I probably wouldn't have gone into training, but he saw who I could be. And that's what push is about. It's about bringing out the best in you. It's, a lot of people say it's an excuse to work your butt off. And, that's kind of what it was. I went into it, and I was working at Morgan Stanley, but that didn't stop me. There was days during the push, days throughout my entire first summer where I would leave the house at 7 a.m. I'd get to the office at 7:30 before Nick or Bailey would, and I'd make a couple phone calls in my car. Then we'd have a phone, a little phone session from 8 to 9 at the office. I'd go to my first appointment at like 9:30 or 10. Get out of that, I'd go to Morgan Stanley for 4 hours from 11 to 3. And then I'd have an appointment at 4, 6, and 8. I wouldn't get home till 10. So I'd leave the house at 7, wouldn't get home till 10. I was working 15-hour days. That's what it means to work during push. But was it worth it? Absolutely. I said, I wanted to have one Comma Club paycheck that summer, $1,000 paycheck. Little did I know I was going to have 4 or 5 or 7. I don't even know how many. But that following week, I had a paycheck of $1,350. It was like, oh man, this is straight money. This is money. And the next week, $3,000 in a week. I tried to I tried to take a picture of the check and deposit through the banking app, and it said, sorry, it's too big.
Woo.
And
Nice.
yeah, I still have that screenshot if you guys want it. It was so awesome. It was a great feeling. So what I want to go back to what Nick said. This is not about who you are. It's not about who you are going into the push. It's not about it at all. Nobody cares, to be honest. What matters is who you are coming out of the push. Can you go through hyper growth that can get you there to be who you can be? Because that's how I did it. I worked my butt off. I made a ton of phone calls. I did a ton of demos, and I saw a lot of people. That's how I did it. It's nothing it's not a secret formula. It's not like, oh, John, he cast a spell and everybody bought ultimate sets. Yeah, I wish. No, John put in a lot of work. John did a lot of demos, and then I continued after that to get a lot of referrals for those really good customers. That's how I did it. There's no secret to the job. It's just putting forth your, all of your effort and going to where you want to be. It's not about where you are now. It's about where you want to be. We're just going to use Cutco as a way to get there, right? So, I don't know if that's 10 minutes. I don't know if that's over 10 minutes. Do you want me to keep talking? I can. But, if you're ready to get me off.
Can you talk about some of your experiences of some good days and some bad days? Can you talk about how it was a roller coaster ride of emotions and physically, just any of those memories from any of your push periods, just the highs and lows and kind of the experiences, like moments you felt like quitting and what you did to get back on board, moments you felt like a champion and started getting complacent and decided to, recommit. Just any of those, if you could tell 1 or 2 stories, that'd be great.
So, that takes me to SC2. SC2 was that one was a roller coaster. I think I think it was pretty much even 5K week. I think that's how it came out. But my good days were awesome. I had there's one day I think I sold $4,000. That obviously took a huge chunk out of it, out of 10K. But there was other days where I went no sale, reschedule, and then no show. Went to their house and they were half hour away. Those days did not feel good. Those days, those are the days that make you want to just go to bed and not wake up. And that's fine, but you can't give up on those days. It's okay to have those feelings, but it's not okay to give in to those. So I do want to say right at the end of SC2, I was at about $8,000. No, it was a little bit more. I was at $8,500. And going into the last day, I was at Morgan Stanley that day. I had a demo with Debbie Robichaux. She actually worked at, she was my mom's friend for a really, really long time, family friends. And she worked at Morgan Stanley too. She walked up to me and said, John, I know we have a demo tonight, but I'm not going to buy anything. And I was like, oh, crap. Because I was really counting. I was like, oh, we got 1 demo left. I go to her house. They got a, fairly nice house. It wasn't anything crazy, but it wasn't, it wasn't not a shack. Start talking to her husband. Her husband's super cool. He, really likes me. We started talking about the Thunder. We started talking about, other sports. We started just talking. And, by the end, he, it wasn't even her that wanted it stuff. It was him. He wanted stuff because I shared my goals with him. They knew that I was, 1,500 short. They didn't buy 1,500, but they bought, I think, 700 CPO. Now, 700 CPO, I could work with that. Obviously, I got referrals, but that's when I went home. I called everybody. I called my Aunt Marcia. She bought a pair of super shears. Called my Aunt Lori. She bought I think a table knife. I called Laura Scott. She's a good family friend of ours. She bought another pair of super shears. I called my grandma. She bought, a petite carver. I just called people, each knife, 100 CPO, 100 CPO, 100 CPO. By the end of the night, I was at like 9,800. And the rest of the morning, that following morning, right before SC2 conference started, I kept calling people. And I finally got one person. They said, yeah, John, we have some table knives, but my husband doesn't think they're big enough. So I said, hey, perfect. Let's get some steak knives. They bought an order of steak knives. I think it was like 240 CPO. I barely hit 10K. That's what it takes. That's what it takes. I showed this video. I love this video. It is of Tracy McGrady. I think it was 2006. His team, the Rockets, they're playing the Spurs, down 13 points with like 40 seconds left. 40 seconds left. 13 points. Game's over. Game is over. Seriously. Tracy McGrady hit 3 and 1 threes and another 3. And then I think hit a couple more free throws. He won the game with 40 seconds left. That's what push is. That's what push is. Seriously. It does not end until it's over. The numbers are not in until, the conference literally starts, and then we're starting the countdown. If you're not pushing until the very end, you are killing yourself. You have 14 or 17, I don't even know how many days. Doesn't matter how many days. You're not going to hit 10K till probably the end. But do not give up until you hit it. Do not give up, at all. It's not about when you hit it's about when you hit your goal. It's not about if. I know you're going to hit 10K eventually. It's about when. So even if you don't hit your goal, even if you sell 7,000, how quickly can you get to 10? But just to reiterate, it is not over until it is over. If I would have given up that night, oh man, how am I going to sell 1,500 tonight before 11 a.m. tomorrow? I wouldn't have, hit 10K. But I shared my goals. I called people back. I said, hey, I'm just a little short. They called that 11th hour list. People were supportive. They said, okay, John, my husband does take my shears. So can we get another pair? Absolutely. Great. I'm going to give you a great deal on them. I'm going to give you a great deal on your next order because I really appreciate you helping me out this time. That's what it means to be in push. If you're the type of person that's going to give up halfway through, this is not for you. But if you're the type of person who at least is willing to learn how to persevere and go through all the crap that you're going to have to deal with, this is where you thrive. That's what I got for you guys. So thanks for listening. I know I got a little serious, but that's how it is.
Get a big round of applause. Very awesome, John. And we're very excited for you. It seems like we got more iPhones on here, and we will take you off the pin video as we move forward. So great job, John. And I'm fired up about wrapping up our meeting, wrapping up our recording. This will be up on YouTube. So if you want to take advantage of it, you certainly can as we move forward. So last thing we are going to discuss is the finish to this whole event and the conference contract. So I'm going to pass this around. By the way, this is not a legally binding contract. We are not going to ask you to, we're not going to ask you to cut yourself with a petite carver and sign in blood, but this is definitely a contract with yourself, a contract with the best version of yourself, the person who you're becoming, and it talks about commitment to the effort and certainly not the results. So whether you want to sign this is entirely up to you. I love it though because we can put this up in the office, and every morning when we show up at 8 a.m., we can look it over and we can say, am I following through with the commitments that I made to myself and to becoming the best version of myself as well? So once this pulls up on the group or on the Zoom code and the recording, then we can look over it and we will move on from there. By the way, great stuff from that, John. Really impressive, and I'm really fired up about just the mentality shift that I think hopefully a lot of you have made during this meeting and the direction that you're able to head as well. So here we go. We're going to review this real quick. Let me find it on my computer. There we go. Most likely you guys can see it. Can I get a thumbs up, Dalen, or somebody in the North Tulsa squad? We got thumbs up. You guys can see the screen, the contract, yeah? All right, fantastic. Well, it's not showing on my computer, but as long as you can see it, that's all that matters. Let's read it together. It says, I put your name, contract with myself, my manager, in my office to commit to the following actions and attitudes for the entire duration of what? SC2 push, right? July 9th through the July 27th. I will Have a PC with my manager before push begins to map out my schedule and goal for every day. I will attend the 8 a.m. meeting at the office. I will participate fully in our half-day call days. I will strive for, you can change that if you need, 3, 4, or 5 demos every day. I will arrive early for every office event. I will memorize and practice the recommendation approach in the close before the during of the push. I will be an example to the team through my attitude by using the 5-minute rule at all times. You don't know the 5-minute rule. It means that you're allowed to get mad for 5 minutes, get pissed, punch a pillow, right? Do whatever you need. But after 5 minutes, any extra effort you put into being mad is not valuable. I will share my success in positive ways to help influence others during the push at meetings and field trainings. I will maintain open communication with my manager throughout the push through PDI and PCs to help me achieve my goals. I will become a team player and help others in the 10K Alliance achieve their goals through encouragement and camaraderie throughout the push. I will do my best and work hard all the way through the last day of the push, and I will not quit on my team or myself no matter what my results. In fulfilling the above actions, I will also receive great benefits in result of my experience and my accomplishment, right? So hopefully I can show this off, and we'll scroll down a little bit. But my rewards will include a great position to advance into an assistant manager opportunity, a strong opportunity to earn a top rep trophy at the conference, being one of the last ones standing on stage during the push countdown. It will also include great resume experience, personal satisfaction in knowing that I've achieved my goal through hard work and dedication, and a limo night out winner, stack some freaking money. And by signing this contract, I'm committed to complete, and that's your demo goal, right? We figured that out earlier. If it's 28, if it's 30, if it's 40, if it's 81, right? Makes me a part of the elite 10K Alliance or 6K Alliance, and that will allow me to work together to make it happen for each and every one of us. So I hope that that's awesome for you. You can sign it. You can hold on to it. You can deliver it to your manager. Whatever you want to do is fine with me, fine by me, and take advantage of that most certainly. That being said, I do want to make sure that we can go ahead and wrap this up with a few assignments. What I'd like you to write down in your notes is one last thing that really hasn't been mentioned. And you've got 14 days to go after push, right? And here's the way it typically breaks down. In those 14 days, you're going to have the following. You're going to have 4 great days. These are days that just go your way. You wake up early, like Britton said. You feel like you're on fire. Every demo, right, is a sale. You sell multiple sets. You're shipping 2,000, 3,000. Maybe you get a big order. I don't know if you've been checking out GroupMe, but just today there was a kid down in Texas that sold over $5,000. He was at 8K. One order put him at 13 now. All it takes is one. There's a kid out in Honolulu, 4th day on the job, had a client buy a full ultimate and a bunch of other things. By the way, it was a $5,400 order. Okay. This is Cutco land. We didn't get to $4.9 million last week by selling trimmers, guys. We hit it through big thinking. And you got to remember, just last November, there was one of our top reps that closed 3,000 engraved lockback knives for a net CPO of $102,000, and the rep was at 50%. Those offers and those opportunities are all around you, but you have to focus your energy on the opportunities and not the challenges. Next thing you can write down is you're going to have another 4 days, and these 4 days are going to be good. They're not great, but they're good. Maybe you had a couple sales, a couple of set sales, maybe you sold $1,000. I can never be negative about a $1,000 day. If you have a day where you complete 3 to 4 demos and ship $1,000, you can't go to bed that night negative. Even if 3 of them were no sales, 1 was a set sale, but you still sold $1,000, right? So you expect to have 4 good days. But you can't have 4 good days without having demos, right? Next thing you can write down is you're going to have 4 average days. An average day, a couple no sales, a couple of piece sales. You weren't a goose egg, but it definitely wasn't great. You weren't, somebody who had a $1,000 day, but you definitely made progress. And some of those days make all the difference. Think about it. If you have 4 days that are in between $200 and $400, those 4 days add up to an extra $1,000. And that $1,000 ends up putting you over your goal, right? Plus, those 4 people can go on your 11th hour list and might be the reason that you end up hitting your goal. But you got to make sure you're focused on having those 4. And the last and final one that you can jot down for yourself, right, is you're going to have 4 crappy days. These are the days that you don't want to talk about. These are the days that nobody wants to think about. These are the days that you have to make a commitment to yourself and your manager to communicate, to let it go, to realize that after every bad day comes a what? A good day, right? And to realize that after those bad days, it doesn't matter, because of 3 years from now, you're not going to remember the bad days. I can't even remember a week ago, right? I have bad days and it's like, hey, what was my last Tuesday? Dude, I don't know, but this Tuesday's going pretty well, right? And so you got to remember that after every bad day comes a great day. After every bad demo comes a great demo, right? And if you think about that, right, maybe I say 4 each one of those, that's 16. Change it to 3. 3 great days, 3 good days, 3 average days, 3 bad days, and then you got 2 wild card days, and that adds up to 14. Those wild card days might just be half-day call days, but I would not recommend those days being days off, right? And keeping your mindset right, keeping your focus right, staying committed to the course, right, that you said you were going to do long after the feeling that you said you were going to do it has left you, right? And that's the true commitment. It's about following through with the actions. And remember that push is not about a destination or a result. Push is about a journey and a process. It's about the person you become through that process and becoming a better version of you. And at the end of it all, if you give your absolute best, regardless of the result, you are going to gain so much more value out of this job in this summer than you would any way else. And you got to remember, SC1 is where champions are born. For most of you, this is your first big sales competition. So do your best, have fun no matter what, and just enjoy the process. And at the end of it all, you'll have 4th of July coming up. You'll have a couple of weeks to re-engage, do some other sales, implement what you learned from SC1, take advantage of some prizes from PCP, and then guess what? Middle of July, we're diving into the second competition of the summer, the big competition of the summer. And this is the freaking Super Bowl. SC1 is where champions are born. SC2 is where champions perform. That's where we compete against the entire state of Texas. That's where we make a name for ourselves. And that's where we really take it to a whole nother level that nobody has ever seen before. So thank you for your time, your attention, your effort. I'm fired up for this meeting to be recorded, uploaded to YouTube so you can rewatch some of your favorites. You got a team meeting coming up right now. Be a leader, be a champion, book a ton of demos. Let's get everybody over $1,000 this week. Let's get everybody to make sure that you commit to your half-day call days with 5, 10, 15 demos ahead. I am giving away free cut count up for who has the most demos when you show up to the conference on Monday. Let's make sure that you are a walking, talking promoter of the conference, of the event, and what's possible. And I can't wait to see all of you dressed to the nines at the event on Monday. Look good. I'm going to be in a full suit and a tie. You want to make sure that you look just as good. This is a professional networking event, and be prepared to bring everything but your knives. Be ready to rip it up, win some free Cutco, and kick off the first big competition of the Great Plains Summer. Sound cool? So thanks for your time and attention. You guys are rock stars. Have a wonderful day. I'm still trying to get my computer to end the Zoom meeting right now, and we will go ahead and lock up the recording after that. So see ya. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, whoops.
We're all like,
My Zoom code is not working.
Get on down. On to the next. On to the next. Oh.